looking at the Preflight and flight for Circuit Flapless and Go-Arounds. So the aim of this brief is to learn the techniques used to accurately fly a flapless approach and landing, and also to conduct a go-around safely. So, normally we land with flaps, so today we're looking at the differences and how to land without flaps, and also how to do a go-around as well in the event you discontinue landing. So motivation behind today's lesson is, there may be times, where your flap lever fails, so you have to do a flapless landing, or, there's something wrong with the approach. There could be traffic on the runway, and you have to do a go-around to safely have another go at landing the airplane. So airplane, let's say we're in Alpha Bravo Charlie type, so it's a PA-28 Warrior. Fuel, we've got 182 litres, so full tanks. Oil, we've got 6 quarts. The flight time today will be 1 hour, and we've got information hotel active. So ready course, so radius to routes will be done by you. You got into a stage where you almost go to solo, so I want to see how you do it. Gives you good practice. Takeoffs, I'll demonstrate the first circuit, the training, so flapless and the go-arounds, and then also do the landing as well. And then the subsequent circuits, I'll tell you whether it's a flapless landing or a go-around in terms of training, and then you'll do the landing as well. And then taxiing shutdown will be done by you. So it's very difficult to make a good landing for a pro approach, so that's why it's important to have a good stabilized approach, so you can have a good landing, nice, smart, soft, smooth, and safe landing. Also have a look at the light signals as well. I'll ask tower. If it's a go-around, it's a steady red, and if it's a clear to land, it's a green light signal. So reasons, situations why. So flapless, you put your flap lever failure. It fails to extend. Stuck in position, or due to a crosswind as well. If it's quite windy, if there's gusty, but you can use flaps to so the wind has less surface area to act through, and you can come in a bit faster, and you can provide better control. Go around. Any doubt exists about the safety of the approach? Airspeed's too low, you've had a bounce, or wind/turbulence. So you could be a situation where you're doing flapless landing, but it's too windy, and that's one of the threats that exists. Weather, there will be failure to monitor weather, and the management technique will be 80/wind. And the undesired aircraft state will be excessive crosswind. So make sure you manage the situation by interpreting the 80 wind. If it's too windy, or don't fly. So you can instigate a go-around. So the two people are the pilot. You at the end of the day, you're the pilot command. You can determine whether it's safe or not to land, and then tower as well. But the tower, they're the boss. If they tell you to go around, you must go around. So flapless normal circuit until approach configuration, so with 1300 RPM, which will be the power setting. Attitude will be a third ground, 2/3 sky, and then make sure you trim for the attitude. Don't let that nose lower. There's a habit of many students who want to let the nose lower to get that half ground, half sky, but it's a third ground, 2/3 sky. So trim for, and how much speed are we adding? So we're adding plus 5 knots. So on base we want 80, on final 75, and then over the threshold 70. And less pronounced flare and longer flow as well, since you've got less drag from the flaps. So go around, aviate, navigate, communicate. So full power, and make sure to apply a bit of right rudder as well. Attitude will be nose on horizon. Flaps retracted. Carby heat off. And radio call as well. So go around Alpha Bravo Charlie. So make sure you aviate, navigate, communicate, and don't jump on the radio immediately. Tower can see you, they know that you're going around. And that's where the threats exist. The error will be not identifying deviation, and the management technique will go around AAA, and then the desired aircraft state will be mislanding or damage to landing gear. So the threat is having an unstable approach. So make sure you recognize your approach, and if not, go around. So what side do you go around on? So in Bankstown, we've got parallel runways, so you would go around on the live side, but on a CTAC, or if there's a dead side active, normally you would go around the dead side. So earliest turn onto crosswind will be at the end of the upwind leg, and watch out for any helicopter traffic as well. As you could be in a go around, but towers position helicopter traffic to go across the runway, so have a good effective lookout. So remember, in terms of application, one of the threats of having an increased workload, the management will prioritise tasks and undesired aircraft state with loss of situational awareness. So the error will be, being fixated on one task. So make sure you seek instructor assistance and prioritise. So your maintenance is HHSS, and your pre-landing checks is a bumpfish. And then 30 degrees threshold, you're going to put carb heat on, power 1300 RPM, altitude, you want 1/3 ground, 2/3 sky, speed 80 knots, and then your trim. Remember, you don't have any flaps. Base, you're going to do fully flapless standard, attitude, airspeed, aspect. Attitude, 1/3 ground, 2/3 sky, airspeed 80 knots, aspect. You judge if you're too high, too low, too close. Make your turn on to final. You can do aim point, airspeed, aspect. Um, so aim point will be about nose and numbers, airspeed, 75 knots, aspect judging if you're too high, too low, and on the center line or not. And then on final, you're going to be doing and then you're going to be doing 300 feet checks at carb heat off, flaps track, confirm that they're retracted, um, your clearance obtained, and checking the windsock as well. And for a go, you're applying full power, nose horizon, navigating around taxiway Bravo, so you can see any traffic on runway, communicate to tower, and then make your turn on to crosswind at the end of that wind leg. So competencies, no competencies for this lesson, but a few things I'll be looking at as per the part 61 manual standards. Complete checks in accordance with checklists, so follow that really thoroughly. Make sure you're plus or minus 1.5 meters from cell line during taxi, so make sure that yellow cell line goes between your legs. Plus or minus 2 meters from cell line for takeoff and landing, so applying that right rudder to maintain the cell line on takeoff, and on landing using the ailerons to get on the cell line. Maintenance of height and spacing, so using HHSS, and workload management, which we've discussed. You're doing circuits and you're doing something new, so make sure you seek instructor assistance or prioritize tasks as well. So aviate, navigate, commute. Look out various speeds and procedures, and got that threat of traffic. Every failure to identify traffic, and then design aircraft state with air proximities. So manage it by looking out, listening to tower. You're doing varying speeds and procedures. You might be traffic that's doing glide approach, and they might be really close. So you may need to go around there as well. Procedures of downwind. So it's a normal circuit, up until the approach. So HHSS. So doing your ready call, HHSS, bumpfish, and the approach configuration. Smooth control and power inputs. So no abrupt inputs in terms of flap. Especially if you're doing the go-around, applying that power, or in terms of the control call. Utilizing that heading over, taking over method, and having a good active listening watch and looking out for traffic. So thank you all so much for listening to the Preflight for Circuit Flapless and Go-Arounds, and I'll see you in the next Preflight.